welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 seasonal products that you could sell on Amazon FBA and make a lot of money during the holiday season. However, I do have a few disclaimers, but before we get into that, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want more Amazon content, more e-commerce content, and just information on how to start your online business. And with that, let's jump right in. So as far as disclaimers go, I just want to let you know that I normally do not recommend that beginners start with a seasonal product, and there are many reasons for this. The biggest reason being that it is extremely hard to time a seasonal product correctly. So at the time of recording this video, we are at the end of July, coming up on August, which means that we are about to be in Q4 in just a few short months. Q4, in case you're not aware, is the holiday season, which are the months of October, November, and December. So during those 3 months on Amazon, in fact, with pretty much all e-commerce businesses, business is very, very good. You make a lot of money because everyone is shopping for holiday gifts. People are getting end of the year bonuses. They're just a lot more willing to spend their money. And so obviously, if you are a person providing products, then you're going to have an influx of sale, an influx of cash, which is a great thing. Now, when it comes to selling seasonal products, the problem or the challenge with timing it correctly is the fact that there are factors that will be out of your control. Right? So if you are selling on Amazon with Amazon FBA and you're doing private label, that means that your products are coming from overseas, most likely in China. So your products are not in a place that is close by. And so you're going to have to space and plan ahead to make sure that your products can be not only produced, but also shipped in a timely fashion. And I will say to you guys right now that Amazon does have a cutoff date for when they will stop accepting products to be checked in for the holidays. So normally that will be sometime in Q4 or leading up to Q4. Amazon will send out a specific date and they'll say, hey, you all have to have your products sent in and checked into Amazon by this date if you want to be guaranteed to have your products available for the holiday season. And so with that being said, let's just think logically right now and kind of put together a timeline. As I said, we are at the end of July. So pretty much the month is over. Even if you were to place an order today, you would still be already going into August. So let's just assume that your supplier has a lead time or a manufacturing time of 30 days, which is standard. Some suppliers have a week, 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days, but as a rule of thumb for the way I teach Amazon FBA is that your supplier's lead time should not be over 30 days. So let's go ahead and put a 30-day cap on how long it will take to manufacture the products. So let's call it August. It will take the whole entire month of August, and now we are at the beginning of September. Now, let's say that you want to save money on your shipping and you're going to do sea shipping as opposed to air shipping. That means that you'll pay less, which is great, but also your products will take a little bit longer to be delivered to Amazon. So let's call that another 3 to 4 weeks, 4 weeks, just so that we're planning accordingly. So now we are at the end of September, beginning of October, which is the start of the holiday season. So you can see why, even though it might feel early and that we've got time until the holidays come, there really isn't as much time as you think. So if you are trying to sell a seasonal product, now would be the time to place your order so that everything can be delivered to Amazon before that cutoff date, and you can make sure that you are ready and set to make that extra cash during the holiday season. So now I want to talk a little bit more about specific holiday products or seasonal items. So when I say a seasonal item, I mean a product that sells during a specific time of the year. This could mean that it sells during a specific season, hence the name seasonal. So let's call it a summer product or a Christmas product, a Thanksgiving product, something that you would sell for New Year's. There are all of these different occasions where you would sell a specific product. And I would argue that maybe those are more holiday products or event products, special event products, whatever you want to call that. I'm lumping them all into seasonal. And so I want to give you a couple of examples of seasonal products that you could look into. I feel like every year I tell myself I'm going to experiment and maybe try out selling a seasonal product, and then I just kind of backtrack and don't end up doing it because I like my products to sell year round. I like to be able to have consistency as far as my income from Amazon. And the only way that that's going to be possible is if you are selling evergreen products products and not seasonal products. But I will give you some examples of products that sometimes I wonder what would happen if I was able to sell these products. So we're going to go ahead and dive into my computer. I'm going to share my screen with you guys so that we can go ahead and poke around and look at these numbers and see exactly how much money these people are making selling these holiday products. Let's dive in. Okay, so we're inside of my computer right now and we are going to type in a product for Halloween. So what comes to mind immediately is trick-or-treating. And what do you need to trick-or-treat? You need a little bucket to hold your candy, right? I have a toddler, so that's what comes to mind for me. So I'm gonna type in trick-or-treat candy container, candy holder. Let's do candy holder and see what we can get. So I'm gonna type that in and we can see a couple of different options. It looks like the reviews are relatively low, which I'm not surprised about. We are out of season. And don't quote me on this, but I have a sneaky suspicion that people who sell this product and do really well probably close their listings when it is not Halloween season, because they don't want their listings just sitting up there for no reason until they're actually ready to sell. They don't want people who are scheming, looking at their existing listings and trying to copy them. So that is just my hunch. I will keep an eye and I'll check, and I could make a follow-up video and let you guys know if I was right or not about that. But that is what I think, because there's no way that there are no sellers with higher reviews than this. So that is what causes me to think that. But either way, I'm gonna go right ahead and I'm gonna click on the Helium 10 tool. As you guys know, this is the software that I use to look at Amazon data, and it will show you how much money these different sellers are making, how many units they're selling, what they're paying in fees. Essentially, it gives you all of the information that you would need to make a good decision as far as whether or not you would want to sell the product as well. So I already have the Google Chrome extension installed on my computer. If you all don't already have Helium 10, go ahead and click on the link in my description. I have a discount code for you guys to go ahead and try it out for free, and then you can go ahead and see exactly what I am seeing when I click on these buttons here. So I'm going to the Chrome extension tool, and then I'm going to use the X-ray tool. Let's go ahead and pull that up and see what information we are able to gather. So unfortunately, there is no search volume for this specific keyword, which is a little bit annoying. And for that reason, I'm actually going to type in a different keyword because I would like to see what the search volume is for a very specific reason I'm going to show you guys in a sec. So instead of candy holder, I put candy bucket, which is essentially the same thing. And now I'm going to look it up again. Once again, y'all will understand why I'm doing this once it pops up. Okay, cool. So the search volume is extremely low, right? This is over an entire month. Only 83 other people have searched for this keyword, which makes perfect sense because we're nowhere near Halloween. But what I do want to show you instead is this graph right here, which will show us how the search volume has changed over time. So what we can predict and what we can expect is that during the holiday season, I would assume August, end of August, a little bit of September, and definitely October, we're gonna see an increase in the amount of searches. And then as soon as Halloween is over, it's gonna just drop right down. So let's go ahead and click to confirm. It defaults to the 30-day view of what the searches have been like, which again have been extremely low. Let's go ahead and click on 1 year. So we can see right here in October, the search volume has increased. It's interesting that it increased as well here in January. That's very strange. Interesting. So this is not what I expected to see, and this is why it's important to always do your product research, because you can make assumptions and you can try to predict what you will see, but it's not always the case. And the only thing that I can think of that would make this make sense is that it's this specific keyword that I typed in. Trick or treat candy bucket is a pretty detailed keyword. I didn't just say candy bucket for Halloween. I didn't just say something simple like that. So I just really want to and have to make this point to you guys. So I'm gonna type in another keyword just so I can show you why I thought that it was going to look the way that I described. So let's look up this final keyword and I will show y'all what I mean. Okay, Halloween candy bucket. So let's go ahead and click on the graph once again, and I'm just gonna go straight to all time. Okay, this is what I expected to see. So now things are making sense, all right? So we can see these spikes, and can y'all guess where these spikes are? Exactly, October, during Halloween and leading up to Halloween. And that's why all of these graphs look very, very similar. It's interesting that there was such a high peak in October 2021, but I can only imagine that it was as the big C word, the thing that happened, had just ended or was ending, and so I'm sure a lot more people wanted to make the most out of it and get out of the house, and probably the reason why it was so low during 2020 as well, because typically we see these numbers increase a bit over time. So I would guess that the numbers would look similar this year to how they looked last year in 2022. Again, I can make a follow-up video and we can see if these predictions are correct or not. So now that we can see what a seasonal products graph would look like, we can see the big peak, then the fall, big peak, fall, big peak, fall. Let's go ahead and look at a specific product, because that's the whole point. We want to see if these products are really making money or not. So I'm going to go ahead to the revenue column, which is how much money they're making in sales. And I'm going to click on it twice to go from high to low. And I'm not going to actually use this one because this is more of a bowl that you would put candy in to like sit outside of your house so people can grab it. It's not really the type that you would carry around to go trick-or-treating. And that's what I was talking about. So I'm gonna look at this second option here, which is a pink jack-o'-lantern candy bucket. So if we go ahead to the sales graph, we're gonna see something similar to what we just saw with that other graph. And it defaults to the 30-day view once again, which is not very illustrative to us of what the trends are, because it's only showing us 30 days and we are nowhere near Halloween, so there's no way that we would see a difference. So what I'm gonna do is go to the 1-year view, which shows us this peak right here. We can see that they were doing only a couple units a day, anywhere between 1 and 5 units a day in July and August. And then look at what happens the second we get to September. We jump up to 8 units a day, which is not anything significant, but keep in mind, up until then, the highest we have sold in a day is 5. So now the second September hits, people's wheels are turning. Oh, it's September. Next month is Halloween. Maybe I should start preparing, and I should, buy these things that I know I'm going to need for my kids or for my grandkids or my nieces or nephews or whoever. So now September comes and we see a gradual increase. We're selling 50 units a day now. And if we go to September 30th, which is a month out from Halloween, almost 200 units, right? And we're still a month away. So let's go into October. And again, we can see increase, a small dip right there, nothing significant, but we can see the numbers going up and up and up until finally we hit a peak here on October 26th. So for people who are ordering and they're using Amazon Prime, they know they're going to get their products within 2 days. So if they order on the 26th, that's probably the day where people are thinking, okay, I really have to order this now if I want to make sure it's here in time for Halloween. So we can see that big spike, and then immediately after that, things start to decline a bit. The 27th, a little bit lower, nothing too intense, and then we go over to the 28th. We're getting closer and closer to the last day, and then we can see the 29th, a big dip again. And then lastly, the 30th, and even on the 31st, the day of Halloween, if you have same day shipping, it is possible that you could still get your product in time. And then of course, after Halloween is over, things just take a drastic dip, and then now we're back to selling only a couple units a day. So this corresponds and correlates perfectly with what we saw on the search volume. And then, so you all can understand why I say search volume indicates demand, right? We just saw it with our own eyes. When the search volume goes up, that means more people are looking for the product, more people are buying the product. So hopefully that makes sense. As far as me constantly telling you guys, make sure that there's enough search volume, make sure there's enough demand. This is what I mean by that, because it directly correlates with the sales of the product. So now if we do the all-time view, it's not only just showing us last year, but it's also going back a year before to 2021. And we can see much of the same. In August, not very many sales. The second that September comes, things start to pick up. And then we have a peak in October, and then things just gradually start to go down again. So this seller has definitely done better this last year than they did the very first time that they launched, and I could only assume that potentially they didn't have as much stock, maybe they didn't have as many reviews, and so this year I'm almost positive that they're going to do even better numbers than they did the year prior. So this may or may not be a good product to sell. I know that there's going to be really intense demand. Let me just go one more time because I didn't actually look at the number of searches. So last year around this, or not this time, around Halloween time, it peaked at around 33,000 searches for Halloween candy bucket, which is a very, very, very healthy search volume. So I assume this year it'll be comparable, and this is a product that, you know, would take some planning. If Halloween is the last day of the month, you would want to have your products in stock with Amazon. I would say no later than the end of August, because we can see already an uptick in sales in September. So you don't want to miss out on those September sales, and you definitely don't want to miss out on the October sales. So if we are at pretty much at the beginning of August right now, you would have a month to get your products made and delivered to Amazon, which is not realistic. So theoretically, this is a product you would have had to order a month ago or 2 months ago in order to get it in time. Do you understand what I mean when I say that it is hard to time these things correctly? Okay, so let's move on. That was the Halloween product that we looked at. Let's look at a Thanksgiving product. And I'm trying to think of what would be a good one. Let me just type in Thanksgiving and see what pops up here. Thanksgiving decorations, Thanksgiving decor, tablecloth. Let's do Thanksgiving tablecloth. I think that's a good one. So here we can see some of the results. Some of them seem to be cloth, some of them are kind of plastic or vinyl. So I'm gonna look it up using helium-10 again. Let's just see what the numbers might look like. And we're gonna just do the same thing that we did for the Halloween product. So the search volume, 1,700, it's super, super low, which is not a shocker. Again, we're nowhere near Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go to the 1 year view, and holy, dang. So the search volume, 420,000 searches is respectfully insane. Like, that is so much demand, so much interest in that product, which makes perfect sense. You're hosting people, you have family and friends over, you want to be decorative and, you know, have everything be looking festive. So it makes sense. It's just, wow, what an incredible amount of demand. Now I'm gonna go to all time and look, another beautiful seasonal graph. We can see those very prominent spikes and then dip back down to nothing. Prominent spike, dip back down to nothing. And every time it's spiking, we are, yep, right before Thanksgiving hits, my goodness. So we've got the 23rd, so I assume that Thanksgiving this year must have been on the 24th. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's that. Here again, we see the big spike on the 21st. We see the big spike here on the 20th, and then the big spike here on the 19th. So it's just very interesting to kind of see how easy it is to see these trends when you know what to look for, right? If you don't have helium-10, how will you ever know that the product is seasonal? If you're not from America and you don't know anything about Thanksgiving or a country that celebrates it, you might not have a clue that this is a seasonal product. So that's why you always look at the numbers. I'm gonna take a quick peek at the #1 seller just to kind of see what it looks like. This is actually very, okay. I was gonna say it's insane that they're doing $173,000 and it's not even Halloween, but it's because this tablecloth is just orange. So it doesn't have to be Halloween necessarily for someone to buy an orange one. I really want to see one that is actually Halloween specific. You know, something a little bit more blatantly Thanksgiving, sorry. Okay. I feel like this is definitely more Thanksgiving because it's got pumpkins on it. So I'm gonna look at the graph for that seller. We're gonna automatically go to 1 year. And yep, it corresponds pretty well with the with the graph of the search volume. And we'll go to all time. Let's see if that one also, oh, okay. So the reason that all time and 1 year is the same is because this is when they launched. It doesn't go back any further. So that's why we're not going to be able to see what the trend has been over time. Let me see if there's one more that I can find. Let's look at this one here and see if they have 2 years worth of sales. They do. They don't have as prominent of a spike, but definitely an uptick in sales here. And it looks like they tried to catch it right as the holiday season was coming. So last year they definitely did better, and this year most likely they'll do even better than they did the year before. Let me just look at the number one seller, even though it's not really Thanksgiving specific, it's just orange. Let's just look and see what the all-time graph looks like. Okay, so they don't even have really intense peaks because it's not specifically Thanksgiving. So I just see a little peak here. I see a little peak here too, which is kind of weird in the middle of the year. But then of course we see the big one here during Thanksgiving and another little one here in April. If you all are more enlightened than me, can y'all let me know, is it like pumpkin season or something in April? There has to be a reason why we're seeing another little spike in April. And this is where you have to think a little bit outside of the box and start, doing a little bit of research. Is there another time of the year that this product would be popular? Is there something else that's going on that maybe I'm not aware of? And that will definitely help you plan for your inventory accordingly. So that is that on this Thanksgiving tablecloth. I want to make sure that we can get to at least a Christmas item as well. So I'm gonna start with Christmas and let's see what comes up. I'm sure Christmas tree, yep, would be number one. Ooh, Christmas in July, interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna just do Christmas tree because I'm very interested to know, because people do, I forgot that people will celebrate Christmas in July. I totally forgot about that. So I'm curious to see if the numbers also spike in July. So let's go ahead and get right to it. We're gonna go straight into X-ray and we're gonna see what the numbers look like. Wow, Christmas tree has 108,000 searches and we are not anywhere near Christmas. But again, I can only assume it's the Christmas in July thing. So let's go back 1 year. And a year ago, it obviously spiked in December, which makes perfect sense. And the graph that we assume to see, I'm just looking in July here. Okay, so the reason that it looks like there's not a spike in July is because the numbers are so large. Let me explain. This probably looks very similar to the Halloween graph or the Thanksgiving graph, but this is different because the sheer number of searches is astronomical, okay? Where we were looking at maybe 50,000 searches, 400,000 searches, we're looking at 4 million searches. I just need you guys to really feel me on this. As someone who does this for a living, 4 million searches is just something that's very hard for me to even grasp. For example, the products that I sell on Amazon, my searches probably hover anywhere between 10 and 20,000. This is 4 million. So this is just an insane amount of demand. And so if we're looking at the months leading up to July, we can see a search volume of right around 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, even 15,000. July goes all the way up to 60,000, but we can't see a big spike because we're comparing 60,000 to 2 million. So it's gonna look little, even though technically there is a little spike. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments. Does that make sense? So we can see here, once again, in December, we can see this gigantic spike. And then again, I'm just curious to see if we see another spike here in July. Yep. It looks like it actually was a little bit more in June, end of June, early July, that we spike up to 70K. But then again, compared to, what is this? again, another 4 million searches, it's gonna look tiny. But we can confirm that there is in fact another small spike. And look, even last year, this spike was 175,000 searches. That's solid. So people were definitely more so celebrating the Christmas in July thing last year. And again, here for this year, July 15th, which is only like a week or so ago, we see 108,000 searches. So we can definitely see that this is obviously a very seasonal product that you could probably cash out on also in July if you planned carefully and strategically. And I just want to show the #1 seller of Christmas trees at this moment. I'm sure it'll change as time goes on, and give you guys a little bit. Ooh, this graph is a little strange to look at. That graph is weird. I'm gonna click on the second seller. All right, this is easier to look at. I'm not sure what was up with that graph. We don't have time to delve deeper, but either way, again, this corresponds with what we saw of the search volume. Really, really high. Imagine 800 sales in a day, you guys. That is insane. But if they're using Amazon FBA, they never had to even ship a single one of these products. Amazon did it all for them. So that's the power of FBA. We can still see that giant spike. We saw a little bit of an increase here in July, but nothing substantial. And then again during the holiday season. So Christmas trees for sure are making crazy money. I mean, the average reviews are really high. So this is a very competitive product, but there's so much money to be made. It's actually mind blowing that the total revenue is almost $1 million and we're not even in season. So I will definitely come back during the holiday season so we can look at these numbers and just be in awe of how much money is really being made selling these seasonal items. So I hope you guys enjoy taking a look at those seasonal products with me. As we can see, people are absolutely crushing it selling these seasonal products, making hundreds of thousands and I'm sure even millions of dollars in one season alone. So if you can time it well and you have a little bit of experience, I definitely think that there's money to be made. You just have to be very careful as far as your inventory planning and just making sure that you have everything ready for when your time comes, your time to shine, you make your money and you are good for the rest of the year. I definitely know people in real life who have this type of a model where they only sell, seasonal products. They make all their money during one season and they do nothing the rest of the year. More power to them. And if you want that to be you, just be very careful. Look at some of the data points that I showed you. Look at the graphs and make sure that you are planning accordingly. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.